Alright, everyone, welcome to today's recap. I hope you all are doing well and staying blessed. If you guys are new here, my name is Jeremiah and I'm a small cap day trader. Today is a green day. If you guys have been following along, you know I have had a bit of a stretch here of red days. So it feels good to be green. I did go with smaller share size today, considering I've been sort of consistently red these past few days. Even though the market has been heating up, I just have been getting in too high. Well, and actually, I'll go over the underlying themes of these red days, and there's a pattern I noticed in a lot of my red days. I didn't do a recap yesterday, so I'm going to talk about yesterday's trade, but I will also be talking about my other losing trades, just to kind of fill you guys in on what's been going on. So, if you recall back a few videos ago, I had a video called If You Struggle with FOMO, Watch This. That day, obviously, FOMO got to me. And I think it has gotten to me in every single one of these past few days, including today. It got to me. I was lucky to come out green, but it still got to me. I ended up buying in too high. And I told myself today I was not going to take any entries at the high, but I still ended up doing it. Luckily, today's market was a little bit more forgiving, and I got forgiven, I think, once or twice. But in any case, the underlying theme of my losers have been buying in too high, buying near the previous high of day, or buying through the break through the previous high of day. That has not worked very well for me, especially in the colder market. I'll go over my trades right now so you guys can see. This first entry I took was the first candle to make a new high. It was on HTOO. This is a $3 stock. It's an Ireland company. The float is 580,000 shares, so really low float. The relative daily volume at this point is 850 times what it usually is. So very high relative volume. Daily volume is 9.68 million shares, or 9.868 million, shares traded. And when I traded it, it was up 28%. So yeah, let's take a look at this trade. This one was a loser. It did not play out the way I expected. I could have gotten on the dip off the 90 EMA, which I intended to get in on. It didn't work there. It started stalling out, and I tried to sell there. And then I was right about it not working, and so I took a little bit longer to sell because that order did not get filled. But I did realize in that moment, I was like, wait, hold on. If it's not working, I should just bail out, hit the bid, which I did later in this video on other trades. But that was my trade on HTO. After that, I was just like, okay, that's a false breakout on the 1 minute. I'm not going to touch it anymore. So my next trade was here on GXAI. This stock has a flow of 6.5 million shares. It's a U.S. company. The price right now is $1.80. I traded it around that price as well. Sector is technology. Daily volume 216 million. Relative daily volume is 60 times what it usually is. So pretty high relative volume as well. This is not a trade I'm proud of. I think this was a winner, but I shouldn't have taken it because this is the trade I've been continually losing on. Buying at the high, buying while it's super extended. So it ended up being a small, more or less break-even trade. So I even said in my stream right now, just now, I said I can't be doing that. Because I realized after, I was like, wait, hold on, that's the setup I've been losing on continually. And yes, it does continue to go a little bit higher, but better for me to be out than to just continue taking that same setup that I keep losing on. And it really is just FOMO because it's sort of just like a reactive thing. I'm not like thinking about a setup or anything. It's just like my hand is hovering over the buy button, and as soon as I see it pulling away, I just press the button. And that really is just FOMO. There's no real entry. So a small loser on that one. So this next trade here was on GXAI. This stock has a float of 6.5 million shares. Oh wait, sorry, I already said this. But I was looking for the break over this pivot right here, and then for the retest of the high of day. I had these daily levels drawn out from the chart you can see here, and you guys can see the trade right here. I think this one ended up being a loser. So I'm in there at 203, right near the whole dollar. Or I think this one played out. This one played out, I think. So I sold it there into strength. And then once again, I bought there on the dip. Uh, I thought that this thing was pretty strong, so we might be able to get another trade. And I sold there pretty quickly. I could have held a little bit longer, but this was a little bit thickly traded, so I wanted to just get in and get out. So now this put me into the green on the day. So I did end up taking one more trade. I think this is the last trade I took on GXAI. Here's first candle to make a new high. I did sell that one a little bit early, but it didn't pull away immediately like I wanted it to. So that was a small trade for 3 cents a share, but green nonetheless. So here was my next trade, once again on GXAI. I was thinking about taking the dip off of the 9 EMA, which would have been a really good trade. And then I think this next trade I did take was a little bit of FOMO and kind of a revenge trade since I missed this entry that I was thinking about. It seems like that happens quite often where I have the right idea and then I just don't pull the trigger and I miss it. And then I end up FOMOing in too high. So this was a small loser, so I wasn't really worried about it. But I saw it start to creep a little bit higher, and I was thinking maybe we can get to this daily level right here. I got a generous fill on that. It was just one share. But as soon as it turned red, I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So this is the last stock I traded, MTEK. This has a float of 4.5 million shares. The price is $2 now. I traded it around $2.40. It's a technology company. Um, like I said, Israeli. Not the best country for stocks, but I decided it's moving. Why not take a shot at it? So I ended up getting in too high here. This is another instance where I FOMO'd in. This is the second time I've done it, or maybe third this video. I don't know. So it starts to pull away here. And I sort of just FOMO in there. Completely FOMO. No real setup there at all. I'm actually very lucky that I came out green on this trade. Um, this time I was forgiven. Because the other times it has not been forgiving. So this is not something I want to reinforce or take a trade like this again. Not at all. So I know it tapped my entry and then it went above it. Micro pullback there on the 10-second and then the rip. So lucky to get out green there. So lucky. But it started to pull away even more. And that was like 13 cents higher than where I exited. Or I went up to 80, so that's actually 16 cents higher. So I got back in there. Once again, another risky entry. Just wanted to get a quick scalp there. That was for 1 penny. I knew that was another risky entry where I'm just buying in too high. This is a micro pullback I got in on for a very quick scalp. So this next trade, I was trying to buy the dip here. Um, I think I bought in too early. Well, I know I bought in too early because it kept going. I should have let it pull back for 2 candles, but I kind of got a little impatient. I just sold it there. And then, of course, it goes back up to my entry and I buy back in there. But it does end up working in my favor, thankfully. But I shouldn't do that again because that was very risky. So sold that for a little bit of a winner there. So I jumped back in here. I don't really know what the entry was, but I think it was a micro pullback on the 10-second. Maybe. This ends up going kind of red and then it just shoots up like crazy. I heard a quote the other day, or maybe it was, yeah, maybe it was yesterday. Buy when others are fearful. So as it dropped there, we had this red doji candle and then dipped a little more. I think people were bailing out. And then once everybody had finished selling, the buyers stepped in who were not scared and they made a profit. I'm lucky I was just in there, to be honest, because I was in there before. But that was, I believe, the last trade of the day. So that was it for today. It feels good to be green again. And I thought it was the right move to size down a little bit to kind of see where I'm going wrong. And I think I figured it out now that I'm buying way too high on some of these stocks with no entry, and it's really just FOMO. With that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.